Hey guys, welcome to another Tuesday Night Live with Rob. Tonight we've got a couple of great topics that we're going to be talking about and really going to kind of dig into a couple of different things. The first is going to be CZ pistols, top 10 reasons why you should consider buying one. And the next is going to be buying a Bugout location, the top 10 things to consider when you're looking for a location for a potential Bugout site for you. So a couple of great topics tonight. A couple of things before we get into that. One, everybody out there, keep a friend of mine, Guy Ross, in your prayers, who's in a really bad car accident today and is on the way to the hospital. Looks like he's going to have some surgery. But keep Guy in your prayers if you would, please. Next, let's talk about some upcoming videos that we have that's going to be coming out on the channel in the next week or two. The first one is a couple that are already out that just released yesterday, and then one that's releasing later this week, and that is the complete disassembly and reassembly videos for the Glock 34 Gen 1 through 3. And these videos they'll bounce back and forth. You can use those videos for any of your 9mm or 40 caliber Glock pistols, your 17s, your 19s, 22s, 23s, 24s, 34s, 35s. The disassembly and reassembly process for the Gen 1 through 3s are all going to be the same. So just got that series put up yesterday on the frame, and then the slide video is linked in there and will also be live in the next few days as well. So check that one out. We've got a new video coming out on the CZ Shadow 2, which is an absolutely outstanding pistol right out of the box. But there's some things you can do to it to upgrade it and really make it shine. So we've got a video coming out on that. That's going to include the complete disassembly, complete reassembly, as well as upgrading the fire control group in the pistol and getting a really, really good double action and single action trigger pull. I think it came in at about 4.5 pounds on the double action, which is pretty crazy. Then we've got a red dot review coming out on the Siley CAF V2 red dot. I've had this one for a while, a little over a year actually, and the company sent it to me, asked me if I would check it out, do a review on it, and I told them yes. I don't think they've been super happy because I haven't put a video out yet, but here's the thing, I don't want to put a video out on something that I've only shot a few hundred rounds through. So I've been using this red dot for the last little over a year, and I've had great results with it. It's maintained its accuracy. The battery, it's still got the original battery in it. It's a great battery life, and really looking forward to getting that review out so you guys can check it out. But it's a pretty cool little site. I think you'll like it. And then we've got a couple of other videos. We've got one, it's winter sowing and indoor seed starting. And this is something that my wife and I have been working on for quite a while. And we've got some different methods for seed starting, both indoor and outdoor, that we're going to be putting a video out on that to help you guys that love to garden and prep and grow your own food, be self-sufficient. We've got a video coming out to maybe kind of cut some corners and help you figure a few things out with that. And then finally, we've got a new video coming out on our Patreon channel on reloading dies, how to choose the correct dies. And that video will be out in the next few days as well, over on Patreon only. And then last, we won't be having a Patreon live tonight. I've got some things with the family after we finish up here, so I'm not going to be doing a Patreon live tonight, so we'll have to skip that and reschedule. So let's get started. Let's talk about the top 10 reasons why you should consider buying a CZ pistol, and more specifically along the lines of the CZ75, the 75 Compact, the CZ85, or the Shadow 2 series pistols. All of them are absolutely incredible firearms. And you know, I've told guys for years, I love 1911s, I love Glocks. There's a lot of guns out there that I'm a big fan of. But out of the box, in my personal experience, and I've shot a bunch of CZ75 variants, I think they are the most accurate handgun that you can buy right out of the box. They're just incredible. I've never picked up a CZ75 that wouldn't just shoot one ragged hole in a target as long as you could hold the sight stable. They outshoot just about anything that I've picked up, including a lot of high-end custom pistols. So if you're looking for an accurate pistol, the CZ75 series are very, very impressive. So accuracy is definitely my number one point to talk about with those guns. They just incredibly accurate. The one downside that I've seen with the CZs are they have a very short chamber. So if you're a reloader and you like to load long, or you like to load, you know, heavier bullets, your 147s or even heavier than 147s, a lot of times you're going to run into some issues with the CZ with a short chamber. You really have to set the projectiles back in the case to be able to fit them in the magazine, and to also be able to get them a chamber in the pistol. So let that be a consideration as well. One thing that is an option, there are aftermarket barrels available for the CZs, and you can also lengthen the lead in the throat on the factory barrels. I've got a couple in the shop right now that getting ready to do that, the exact same thing, lengthen the lead in the throat and get those pistols finished up, and they'll head back to a customer later this week. Sorry, I was choking over here. Reliability is going to be number two. The CZ75 and the 75 variant pistols are absolutely incredibly reliable. Very seldom do you ever see parts fail in them, and normally if you do see a part that does fail in those pistols, a lot of times it's user introduced. You know, we, as a competitive shooter, you know, you're trying to squeeze every bit of speed and accuracy and flatten the gun out so it's as soft shooting as possible, and in doing so you introduce stress into the pistols from time to time. And one way that you do that is by reducing the recoil spring weight on the pistols. You know, you go down to a really light recoil spring, and it puts a lot more stress on the firing pin stop, and I'm sorry, not the firing pin stop, the slide stop. And the slide stop can end up shearing off and breaking on it if you're running a really light spring, even with a shock buff. But it's one of those things that guys that shoot the CZ75s in competition, they understand that, they recognize that, and they generally keep an extra slide stop or two in their bag and know that it's like a 10,000 round service life part. So after you get around that 10,000 round mark, you just pop the old one out and put a new one in. It's a pretty inexpensive replacement part for those pistols. Number three is going to be manufacturer and aftermarket support for the CZ75 pistols. There are many companies out there that make great parts for the CZ pistols. I just finished doing a couple of kits. Excuse me. I've just finished doing a couple of kits from Cajun Gunworks, fire control groups in some Shadow 2s. And it's the first time that I've used their kits, and I was extremely impressed with the ability to be able to adjust the pre-travel, ability to be able to adjust the over-travel. It's got a set screw for your thumb safety, so it's easy to adjust that. You're not having to file and stone on things to be able to get the safety angle to work like you need it to. But one of the really nice things was it shortened the reset on the trigger to where the trigger feels like you're shooting a 1911. Incredibly short reset, and really light on the double action and single action trigger pull. You know, if you're looking for the ideal trigger pull weight for one of these pistols and get the double action down as much as possible, this kit ended up right around 4.5 pounds on the double action and a poundish, a little over a pound on the single action, with a reset that feels like I'm shooting one of my 1911s. It's really impressive. Another company that I've used a long time is CZ Custom, Angus Hobdell. Great guy. I've known Angus for over 20 years through competitive shooting, and he has a great company and has a lot of great products for the CZs. I think the kit from Cajun Gunworks was easier to install, easier to fit, with very minimal tuning that you have to do to anything compared to the stuff from CZ Custom. The CZ Custom kits work, and they work extremely well, but they are a gunsmith fit kit where you really have to know what you're doing to be able to get everything dialed in like you need it to. Another number 5 on the list, Number 4 on the list are the magazines with the CZ75 pistols. These pistols have great magazines. They're very reliable. They function extremely well right out of the box. It's not like buying a Prodigy or Staccato or some of the other pistols that are out there, your double stack 2011s, that you always end up having to tweak the magazines and do little things to them to make them ideal. The CZ75 mags are great right out of the box. Extremely reliable magazines, and there's several companies that make extended base pads so you can increase the capacity on the magazines. I think the only downside that I found to the CZ magazines a lot of times is being able to find them. They can be difficult to track down extra magazines, especially the OEM original equipment manufacturer magazines. When you can scoop those up, grab them. Especially the 18 and 20 round magazines, they can be tough to get. So if you run across some, make sure you go ahead and pick those up. And number 5 is all steel construction on the pistol. It is a heavier pistol, especially for 9mm. For guys that are used to shooting the Glocks and a lot of your polymer frame pistols, when you switch over to a CZ75, that's generally one of the first things that you note is the weight of the pistol. They weigh in at around 41 ounces or so unloaded. So it's a big pistol, it's a heavy pistol, but that added weight and having that steel frame really helps to absorb a lot of the recoil energy of the pistol and really flattens it out. So it's an extremely soft shooting pistol with that added weight. Number 6 on the list, it is a great pistol for carry or competition. If you're looking for kind of a one gun that does everything really well, the CZ75s would check that box. The only downside is, once again, the weight of the pistol. A 41 ounce pistol on your belt gets heavy carrying it all day, every day, and you will start to notice that weight on your waist. But if you're looking for an extremely accurate, reliable, easy to shoot, go anywhere, do anything pistol, the CZ75s are hard to beat. Number 7. And I probably should have put this one, and here's the thing, the list is not in any specific order. If it was, it would be shuffled around quite a bit. But number 7 is the best double action trigger on any semi-automatic pistol you can buy, hands down. Even right out of the box, the CZ75s, they're around 10 pounds right out of the box on the double action. You can change some parts out in the gun, and it is not difficult, even for someone that's not a gunsmith, to change the parts in their gun and get a 5.5 pound double action trigger pull. For somebody that knows what they're doing, you can go in there and it's pretty easy to get even a sub 5 pound double action trigger pull on these pistols. So if you like shooting double action, the CZ75 with a 4.5-5 pound double action trigger pull with a really short reset is hard to beat. Number 8, you can get the pistol with either a manual thumb safety or a decocker. So I'm a thumb safety guy, love thumb safeties on pistols. I've carried 1911s for decades and I'm very comfortable carrying cocked and locked. The CZ75 with a thumb safety on it, I'm very comfortable carrying that pistol cocked and locked with the thumb safety engaged on it. But for those of you out there that are like, I'm just not a fan of carrying cocked and locked with a thumb safety, I can bump something and maybe knock the safety off or whatever, they make the exact same pistols with a decocker on it. So you can decock it and be able to shoot the pistol double action first shot, which gives you that longer, heavier trigger pull, but you can do the trigger you can do some parts changing in there, and even on the double action pistol, be able to get your trigger pull weight down to 4.5 to 5 pounds on a double action, which is pretty incredible, especially for a decocker pistol. Number 9 on the list, and this one is purely subjective, but it is my opinion, so I will share it tonight. Number 9 on the list is the perfect ergonomic grip angle. The pistol literally just feels like an extension of your hand. When I point a CZ75, whether I have my eyes open or my eyes closed, when I open my eyes, the sights are there. They're lined up. The front sight's not high, it's not low. I don't have to cant my wrist at some weird crazy angle to get the sights to line up. It is the perfect grip angle that naturally matches the grip. It naturally matches the angle of your hand if you make a fist. and point at something. So if I'm pointing, the angle that my hand is, that's the angle of the grip. It's a very natural, instinctive, intuitive angle. And number 10 is the reverse frame rails for an extremely low bore axis. CZ reversed the frame rails on the slide and on the frame. The slide has the external rails and the frame has the internal rails. What this does is allows the slide to sit much lower in the frame than your traditional frame rails on a pistol. The lower bore axis gives you more control over the pistol and helps to reduce recoil by moving the bore axis lower, and you get a more flat, very straight recoil back into your hand instead of a high bore axis, which gives you more muzzle flip. So I think the CZs, especially for a really commercially available pistol, has probably one of the lowest bore axis of any pistol that's out there, and even out of the box is one of the flattest, softest shooting 9mm pistols that you can buy. So it's my top 10 reasons, kind of real quick, just buzz through those for you guys to have a little bit of information about the CZ75 series of pistols. Like I said, I do have a video coming out on the Shadow 2 in the next week or so that does a complete disassembly, complete reassembly, as well as walking you through the upgraded parts that you need to put in it to get a really good trigger pull, that 4.5 to 5 pound double action trigger pull. So that video is coming up soon. Excuse me guys, I've got a some kind of head funk going on for the second time in a month. I just can't seem to shake it. Alright, let's jump over here to some questions right quick. We'll roll through those and then we'll drop down into part 2, which is going to be buying a bug out location. The top 10 things you need to consider before you buy a bug out location. Let's roll over here to our questions and comments. We got several people in here tonight. George Boone, hey Robbie, Michael here from Georgia. Jim Griner, evening folks. Mr. River, he's in here tonight. Robert Picard, hi Rob, from up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Robert, it's good to have you with us. George is going to have to bounce on us pretty soon. He's got to work the night shift tonight, but I'm sure he'll catch it on the rewind. Gerald Montanona, greetings from Las Vegas. Dwayne Booth from Anderson County. George Boone, my dream CZ is the Shadow 2, especially since it's in a compact now. Prayers go out to your friend and his family. Thanks, George. I appreciate it, bud. Dinks Outdoors, time for another cooking video, Rob. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. We're getting ready to do a little camping expedition this weekend, and I think that's going to be one of the things we do is a little bit of outdoor cooking. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a fun video. Bill Runkle, hey y'all, from Barberton, Ohio, checking in. How's everyone? Bill, it's good to have you tonight. He says, I used to own a CZ75B and loved it. That was his favorite handgun to take to the range because of the single action trigger. Yeah, the 75Bs are great pistols. And the thing is, you can buy that pistol with the double action, single action trigger in it, or you can buy it with a single action only trigger and still change out some parts and get an absolutely incredible single action pull. Jim Griner says bought a CZ75B Retro last April and love it. Stunt Jimmy's in here tonight from the great state of Bristol, Maine, up there where it's hanging out in the frozen tundra right now. He'll be heading south here pretty soon for the south for the winter. MSB 9021. I have several CZ75Bs. My favorite is a polished stainless with Cocobolo grips. A real pimp gun, shoots great. Those guns look absolutely incredible with the wood grips on them. The lines on those pistols, they kind of remind me of like the Smith & Wesson 459s, and just a really sleek, finished, just a classy looking pistol. And the 75B, especially in the stainless with the Cocobolo wood grips on it, is just a classic looking pistol. Ken Garrett says, here I am, Robbie. Ken Garrett, here I am. Good to have you tonight. Tomcat 941 says, do you know if CZ kits will work with a Jericho 941? I don't. The Jericho is either going to use the CZ75 kit or it's going to use a Tankfolio kit. and I'm not sure which one would work with that pistol. I'd have to pull one apart and look at the inside and see which kit would work. Gmo, hi from South Wales, UK. I see you on Sensible Prepper. As our laws are different from yours, the only weapon I have apart from my Louisville Slugger is a Glock 19 air pistol. Prayers for your friend. Gmo, I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in from the UK tonight. It's always good to have our friends from across the pond to hang out with. Gerald Montanona says CZ also doubles as a good club if you run out of ammunition. Yes, it does. It's not quite as good as a High Point, but you know, it'll do in a pinch, right? Lee Derby, hello from Buffalo. Miko Boop, okay, not sure what that is, but hey. Bill Wonkel, what were the issues with the 2075 Robbie that caused CZ to discontinue production? Bill, I'm not sure about what the issues were with the Robbie, why it ended up going out of production. The only thing that I could think would just be low sales. I haven't heard anything about any kind of manufacturing issues or anything like that. Normally when a company discontinues a product, it's because they just don't sell enough of them to justify continuing to produce them. And then also with companies, especially with handguns that are imported into the United States, a lot of times there's very specific rules on what the handgun can have and what the handgun can't have, and it's based off of the GCA, or the Gun Control Act of 1968, and it's very specific about the size of the handgun, the type of sights it can have, and it's a point system. So the pistol has to score, it has to score a certain number of points to be eligible for importation into the United States. And it could have been that the CZ met those parameters for a while, and then maybe something changed with, you know, a small change with the pistol in their production facility, and it wasn't able to be imported into the United States anymore. So I'm not sure, but hopefully that gives you a little more information about it. John G, better late than missing. Greetings from Moore. John, good to have you on tonight, bud. Morgan Horde said your mic still sucks. Last week was bad too. Is everybody having an issue with the audio tonight, or is it just Morgan? If you could just pop over in the comment and let me know how the audio sounds to you tonight. So, and if it sucks, then I will work on it and see if I can get that fixed. Probably not a whole lot that I'm going to be able to do tonight, but if there is an audio issue, I will work on it for next week and see if we can get it dialed in. And George Boone says, absolutely, we'll catch you on the rerun video. Thanks for all you do, Robbie. You're a wealth of knowledge. And George, thank you. Have a safe night at work, bud. All right, guys, let's roll into buying a bug out location. Top 10 things to consider. So number one on the list is location. You know, anytime you're buying real estate, it's always location, location, location. So let me hang on just a second, guys. Let me know if this helps with the audio a little bit. I'm making a little change here and see if this helps. All right, there we go. Let me know if that's any better, or if there was no change. All right, so like I was saying, with buying a bug out location, it's all about location. What might be the best location for you may not necessarily be the best location for me, but one of the biggest things with the location is how far is your bug out location from where you currently live. And the reason that is such a big important part is if you're buying a bug out location, you're going to be prepping that location. You're going to be prepping that location to potentially bug out to. And if you're working on a bug out location, okay, got quieter but no less modulated. All right. Give me just a minute. I'm going to see if I can do something with the modulation. not going to be able to do anything with it while it's live. I'll have to work on it afterward. All right, well, we're just going to have to deal with it, but yeah, sorry about that, guys. I will try and do better next week and see if I can get the audio tuned in where it's a little better and not over modulated. But so with location, the reason you want it to be relatively, I'm going to say relatively is kind of a loose term here, but relatively close to where you live, within an hour or two, you're going to be prepping this place as a place that you're going to bug out to. And if it's 3, 4, 5, 6 hours away, it's going to be too far away for you to get there and actually work on your bug out location and continue doing things with it. You know, if you're going to try and grow crops there, if you're going to have animals there, and just your facilities as well, just keeping everything clean and neat and organized. If it's 3, 4, 5 hours away, you know, you're not going to be able to just hop in the car and take off, you know, on an afternoon, or take off even on a weekend a lot of times to be able to go and work on your bug out location. So one of the biggest things to consider is finding a location that is closer to you, and also a location that still gives you the things that you want, as far as the land and things you want to do, but you know, you want to have something that you can actually get to on a regular basis to be able to work and just keep preparing and getting it better. So make sure that's a big consideration for you. Number 2 on the list is water source. What's the water source on the property? Are you going to have a water source? Are you going to drill a well? Are you going to dig a well? Do you have a spring head on the property? You know, I'm not a big fan of relying on city water, because it's can easily, I mean, it's nice to have at home, but at my bug out location, no, I wouldn't want city water. It's too easily compromised, where you're depending on someone else for your water. And the whole thing about a bug out location is a place you can go where you can be self-sufficient. So having a good water source is very, very important. You know, before you buy a property, I would talk to the neighbors around the area and find out what kind of well they have, how deep their well is, if they have a drilled well or a dug well, if they're using a spring, if they've ever had their water tested, find out if there's any heavy metals or anything that's leaching out of the soil, or any chemicals or anything like that that's leaching out of the soil into the water. So find out what kind of water, you know, the potential water that you could have on your property before you buy it. Next on the list is soil type. What type of soil is on the property? Is it hard packed clay? Is there a good topsoil layer? How deep is the topsoil layer? You know, one of the big things I've seen with people like Kentucky or West Virginia, because of all the coal mining there, the coal waste, it contaminates the soil and nothing will grow. So, you know, having good quality soil to where you can grow crops, to where you can grow wheats and grains. If you're going to have animals, you know, you're going to pasture animals, you want to be able to grow pasture grass for them. You don't want to have to be buying hay all the time to feed your animals. You want them to be able to live off the land just like you are. So you want to make sure that you have really good soil, and if it's a question, go and check the property out, dig the soil up, send it off and have it tested. Then that way you know what kind of soil you have, what kind of nutrients are in the soil, what you're going to have to add to it, you know, as far as fertilizers and this stuff. And then once again, just like with your water, to make sure there's no heavy metals, there's no toxins, there's no chemicals or anything like that have leached into the soil from any of the surrounding areas. Number 4 on the list is the potential building site. So you found you a piece of property, and now you're looking at the property to be able to build on. The build site for the property, is it going to be accessible by the construction crews? Are they going to be able to get their equipment in there to build? Are they going to be able to get a crane in to set the rafters in the house? Is there access at all, or are you going to have to cut a road in to be able to get to the property? So see if that helps any. But you know, you want to make sure that you have access to the property, and that whoever you're going to have coming in to do your building, that they're going to have access to be able to get heavy equipment in to be able to do the grading, to be able to do the foundation, to be able to get concrete trucks in, to be able to get all of your flatbed tractor trailers with all the lumber and everything that you're going to need for the build into the property. So, and if that's one of the things that you don't have available, what's it going to cost to upfit the property to be able to cut a road in to where you can get equipment in there to be able to build? And that's a big consideration, because that could be very, very expensive, just building a road and putting a road in to be able to build on your build site that you've selected. Number 5, will the land need to be cleared? Are you looking at a heavily forested area? And if you are, how much land do you want to clear? One of the big things that I always look at is I want to have enough room around my home to where if there is any type of forest fire or anything like that, that the trees it's gonna be easy for me to do a fire barrier around the property to be able to keep a forest fire from getting onto my property and burning everything down that I have. So you're going to want an acre, you're going to want 2 acres, you're going to want to clear all the underbrush, any kind of scrub brush or anything like that, and keep everything back away from your house, so where if there is a fire, it's not going to be able to get to your property and destroy your bug out location. Number 6 on the list is a heat source. How are you going to heat your bug out location? Short term, you can always do gas heat, you can do oil heat, but long term, you're really going to be looking at firewood is going to be your primary heat source. So are there woods around you? Can you cut some of your own wood off of your own property for firewood? Or are there areas where you can harvest firewood from down trees in your area? So having a really good supply of firewood, especially for the long term, is going to be something to definitely look at. Number 7 on the list are neighbors. Make sure you meet the neighbors before you buy a piece of property. There's nothing worse than finding a property that you love, buying the property, moving in, and realizing that you and your neighbors just don't jihad with one another, right? You're type A, they're type C, the positive and negative terminals on a battery, the magnetic poles on a magnet, you just oil and water to one another. And that's, your neighbors are going to be one of your biggest assets in a bug out location. So you want to make sure that you find a location that has neighbors that you really get along well with, and you can get a pretty good read on people, just meeting them a couple of times. And so make sure you meet some of the people around the property that you're looking at before you ever purchase it, and make sure that that you get along well with them. Number 8 on the list is a big consideration. Are you going to buy a bug out location that's already complete, or are you going to build something that's going to suit your needs? And that is a huge consideration. And then to go along with that, how much time do you have to spend at your bug out location working and preparing it? Do you have time to be able to be there and work on your garden, to be able to tend to animals, to be able to build and expand and add on? Or are you really busy and just don't have time to do all of that, so you're looking for a place that you can buy that's complete, that has everything that you're looking for, and maybe you've got some neighbors around there that are looking for land to where they can grow crops and stuff on, and you can do almost like sharecropping type deal, where they plant and they grow on your property, but you get some of the food off of it as well. And they do the work and you get the food for providing the land to them. So options there, but it's definitely something that you need to consider, and something you need to think seriously about is how much time you're realistically going to have to be able to spend at your bug out location. Number 9 on the list is stocking and setting up your bug out location. What are you going to keep there? You're probably not going to want to have everything from your primary residence at your bug out location, but you really need to sit down and think long and hard about what you want to have at your bug out location, as far as medical, self-defense, food, Water, one of the big things, cleaning supplies. If you're in a bug out location, it's probably because the world has went to pot and you're going to be there for a while. So, cleaning supplies are something that a lot of people don't think about, for not just for cleaning the house, but for cleaning yourself. Toilet paper, soap, shampoo, deodorant. Those are items that you're probably going to want to buy in bulk and really stock up on, so you have plenty of extra at your bug out location. But the things that you stock up on that's one of the things that you really want to plan out and make you a good list of things you want to keep at your bug out location. And it can be something that's going to change from time to time. You're going to add some things, you're going to take some things away. I mean, that's prepping in general. But just what meets you and what suits your needs the best. And number 10 is medical facilities. Even though you're in a bug out location, do you have access to medical care in a reasonable area? Are you going to have to drive hours and hours to get any type of medical care? Even though we are self-sufficient, that we do take care of ourselves, and our goal is to be entirely self-sufficient, sometimes you need medical care that's beyond what you can provide for yourself or your loved ones. So do you have medical facilities within a reasonable distance that you can get yourself or your loved ones to in case of an emergency? And number 11 is a bonus item that I added in here that I didn't have at the beginning, and I was like, you know what, I think we need a bonus item tonight. And the bonus item is, how much land do you need versus how much land do you want? I think ideally we'd all like to have 50 to 100 acres or more, with a house stuck right in the middle of it and cleared out around it, and forested, and a pond and a creek and a spring head, and there's a huge list of things that we would all want to have at a bug out location. But what do you actually need versus what you want? Our needs and our wants are something that throughout life we're always trying to balance and find that happy medium. So that's something to really weigh out with a bug out location, is what do you actually need in your bug out location? You need water, you need shelter, and you need food. Those are the three things that you need. And I would add, you need some neighbors as well, because bugging out alone or with just your family is going to be very difficult. Having some good people around you makes it much easier when you can share the workload. So look for an area that has great neighbors, and that's really going to help you meet your needs a lot easier, instead of looking at your wants. If you've got the means, hey, absolutely get what you want. But for most of us, we have to look at what we need first and foremost, and then if we can add a couple of wants in there along with our needs, then there's always a compromise there. But that's a big decision. Weigh it out, and draw out your pluses and minuses as far as how much land you need versus how much land you want. So, and that is a bug out location top 10 things to consider before you buy. We're going to bounce back over here to some questions. So if any of you guys are out here watching and have any questions, make sure you drop them in, and we'll get to those in the next few minutes. So, and again, I want to apologize about the audio tonight. I'll get that figured out. It's the first time in a few weeks that I haven't done an audio test, and apparently I missed on something, but I'll get that figured out. Brad95 says hello from Wisconsin. What are your thoughts on the Ruger ARS? Let me. Okay, that's just the Ruger 5.56 rifle. Ruger makes good AR-15s. I've been very impressed with the quality and the workmanship with the Ruger rifles, whether it's the 5.56 or the 308. There's been some guys that have had some issues with the 308s, but all of the 308s that I've played with from Ruger have been very good rifles. I wouldn't hesitate to buy one of those. Let's see. Dwayne Booth says, what do you think about the G-Force GF99 DLX 12 gauge with a 20-inch barrel and 5-round magazine? And let me look that over a little bit and see if it helps some. Let me look that one up. I'm not familiar with that one, I don't think. Okay, this looks like the G-Force GF99 semi-automatic shotgun. It looks like there's several companies that are importing these from Turkey. And everything that I've messed with these guns, they seem to be very reliable. It's basically a semi-automatic auto-loading 12-gauge shotgun. Most of them that I've seen are gas operated. Recoil spring and everything is under the handguard, just like your Remington 1100s and numerous other shotguns that are out there. And then it's just got like an exoskeleton around it with the to make it look more like an AR-15. The ones that I've messed with, the magazines are pretty reliable. One of the big things that I've seen are most of the magazines have a last round bolt hold open that's built into the magazine, and it creates a lot of drag inside the magazine. On the 5-rounders, it doesn't seem to be a big issue, but when you get up to like the 10-rounders or the 12-rounders or the 15-rounders, that last round bolt hold open, it really causes a lot of drag and friction inside the magazine, and that coupled with the weight of almost a box of 12-gauge shotgun shells can cause some issues. So one of the things that I do with these guns, as well as a bunch of other ones that have that bolt hold open feature in the magazine, is I disassemble the magazine and I take that bolt hold open feature out. If I run the shotgun dry and it clicks when it's got an empty chamber, then I'm gonna throw the mag out, put another mag in, rack the bolt, and go back to shooting, which to me is a much better alternative than having a firearm that is just not reliable. And I've ran into a lot of reliability issues with that last round bolt hold open with the larger magazines just not feeding the rounds up like it's supposed to, and you get a bunch of different types of jams with it. So that'd be one recommendation that I have. If you get one of these or some of them that Century Arms import, they're great shotguns, but disable and take out that bolt hold open feature in the magazines. Let's see, hunting and stuff with JJ made it on tonight. Good to see you, bud. Citaspell jumped on late. We'll rewatch the beginning later. Good evening, all. Good to have you, bud. The parallel sound audio sounds cracky. Maybe the 3.55 jack is loose. I checked that. It seems like everything's tight, but we'll keep working on it. I'll get it dialed in next week, guys. Dwayne Booth says you could also have the tree company drop the chips from their trimmings on the property and it'll decay into topsoil. Yeah, it absolutely will. And the only downside to using wood chips for topsoil is it takes a while for wood chips to break down, especially depending on the size of the wood chips and what type of wood it is. So if you're going to use wood chips to decay and use it as topsoil, it's really best to have an area that you can devote 5 years or so to put a layer of wood chips down and let them decay, and then you can have those wood chips as topsoil. Dwayne Booth also said you should have a 30-foot fire break, 30-foot minimum. It really depends on the height of the trees that are around your property, especially around your house. If you've got 60, 70, 80-foot tall oaks and poplars and stuff around your property, you're going to want to expand that border out for a fire break. And that way you can keep those really tall trees away from any of your structures or anything on your property. And George says the best bug out location would be to find where Robbie is. I can't argue with that. I think you're right. Gerald Montanona says, what brand do you recommend for a 22 conversion kit for an AR-15? Gerald, I've had really good results with the kits from CMMG. That is probably my go-to kit if I was looking at doing a 22 conversion. It would be the ones that CMMG offer. They've got great magazines, the bolts work really well. It's just an all-around good kit. Robert Picard says, on that subject, how about the JTS M12AR? Let's check that one out. JTS M12AR. So the JTS M12AR is actually a little different design than a lot of the Turkish import ones. I believe this one's still imported from Turkey, but it is a different design. It's a gas blowback, more similar to what you'd see with your AR-15s. Buffer assembly in the buttstock, and the lower receiver is based more on a AR-10 lower receiver. I haven't done any personal testing with it, but I have some friends that have done quite a bit of testing with it, and the guys that I've had that I've known that have shot these said they were very finicky with the bolts, and the type of ammunition that you used in them generally have to run a lot hotter ammunition to get them to run reliably. I think it's a really cool design, and maybe with some tweaking and stuff, it could be a really great shotgun. But like I said, everything that I've seen with them so far, from other people doing reviews and all on them and testing with them, they've been less than 100% reliable. Bill Winkle says, any thoughts on the new Smith & Wesson SD9 2.0? Also, best concealed carry handgun for under $400. The Micro Dagger or the PSA Dagger. Both of those are great pistols under $400. If you want something that's a little more mainstream and not one of the PSA branded pistols or a Glock knockoff, the Canics are really good pistols. The TP9 SF, great handgun. Guys are always looking for a budget 9mm for a concealed carry pistol. The Canics are a great pistol. So I wouldn't hesitate to carry one of those. I've had nothing but great results with any of the Canics that I've shot and tested over the years. Citispell, you may have covered this. I was late. Question: security camera at Bugout location. Have a friend with a hunting cabin that gets vandalized and it's in the middle of nowhere. I recommend security cameras anywhere you have property, whether it's your home, your business, or your Bugout location. You may have, if you've got good Wi-Fi signal to where you can put up like the Ring cameras. I use the Ring cameras everywhere. I've got probably more of them than I should have, but they work and they work well, and I've had great results with them. If you've got Wi-Fi at your Bugout location and you can put the Ring cameras up, that would be one that I would recommend. If you don't, I would look at getting some of the hunting trail cameras that will you can sync those with the internet signal, or sync them with something, and they'll send you photos or videos to your phone anytime they pick up any kind of movement. So either one of those, either the Ring if you're looking for something that you would put at your home or your business, is a good one if you have good Wi-Fi, or some of the hunting cameras that work really well even if you don't have Wi-Fi available and can still send photos to you. And both of those are almost real time. There may be a couple of seconds lag from what it's seeing to what it's submitting, but they're almost one for one as far as a lack of lag. Robert Picard Jr., wood chips also suck the nitrogen out of the soil. Absolutely. If you're going to use wood chips, or if you're going to use leaves or any kind of plant litter, just know that you're going to have to add nitrogen back into your soil with that bed that decaying plant matter that you're producing. So Robert Van Dyke, going to buy the North American Arms 22 mag on your suggestion. Could I weld a ring to the frame to slip a finger through for recoil mitigation? They make a they make a pistol that has a folding grip on it that is much bigger, and so the pistol folds down basically inside of the grip, and you get ready to use it, you just fold the pistol out, and it gives you almost a full hand grip on it. So if you're looking for something to give you a little more control over it for recoil mitigation, definitely look at the one that has the little folding grip on it. I can't remember the exact model of it off the top of my head, but if you go to North American Arms website, that's one that's generally front and center on their sites, the one with the little folding grip. Lewis Knight, hey Robbie, what do you think of Lewis Machine & Tools Mars 556 Quad? Let me... LMT L. So my opinion on Lewis Machine & Tool, they have been around, they've been in the AR-15 business for a long time and make really high quality AR-15s. So anything that you see that has a LMT brand on it, know that you're buying something that's going to be on par with quality with like a Daniel Defense or a BCM. So I wouldn't hesitate at all about picking up anything from a Lewis Machine & Tool, or if you look them up online, it's LMT Defense. But great products. Whiskey Prepper says Canic is awesome. Yes, they are. Great pistols. Robert Picard Jr., I'm only planning on using hot buckshot in it. Yeah, with hot buckshot, it'll work fine. I would still look at removing that magazine or the last round bolt hold open feature that's built into the magazines. It's going to run more reliably and be easier to load with that taken out. But so with that, I think you'd be good. Tanix says, what kind of power bank do you use? I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to go and look through it and see exactly what brand it is. But I'll get back to you on that one. Bill Wonkel says, Grab a Gun has optics ready CZ P10C on sale for $379 in stock, just in case anyone is interested. That's a great deal on a P10C. So the P10C is the polymer frame striker fired pistol from CZ. It's a little different than the CZ75s, the all steel CZ75s we were talking about earlier. To me, I don't think the P10C it's not nearly as accurate as the CZ75s, but most other pistols on the market are not as accurate as the CZ75s. So, but hey, $379 for a Glock 19 sized pistol from CZ that's a great price. That is a great price. Bill Wonkel says also, the Canic triggers are ridiculously good. Yes, they are. The Canic has a great trigger in their striker fired pistols, and they also have good aftermarket support for replacement parts for the Canics. And that's always been a big hang up that I've had with buying any sort of imported firearm, especially the stuff that comes in from Turkey. Is a lot of times you've got great guns that come in for a while and you buy them and you're able to shoot them, but if anything ever breaks in them, there's just not manufacturer's parts available to where you can get that firearm back up and going. And that's one of the things that Canic did really early. They brought in the pistols into the United States, but then they also brought in the parts and OEM support for their handguns, where you can buy just about any part for that pistol directly from Canic or Century Arms International, and have those parts, have replacement parts on hand, as well as upgrade parts with the trigger systems and stuff. And guys, it's 6:55. I think that's going to be about it for tonight. We're going to start wrapping up here. Make sure you tune in next week, live 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and if you get a chance, catch me over on Sensible Prepper on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard. Don and I, we do a YouTube live on a Sensible Prepper channel. So if you get a chance, pop over there and catch us on that one as well. Thank you all for watching. You guys have a great week. I really appreciate you.